Most women think the silence means it is over. But what if the silence is actually the most powerful thing that has ever happened to you, and you have been misreading it this entire time? Because nobody ever told you that the space between where you were and where you are going is not empty at all. It is loaded with every single thing you need to become the woman you have been waiting your whole life to meet. And the moment you stop trying to fill that silence and start listening to what it is telling you, everything about your life begins to. There is something deeply powerful that happens the moment you stop filling every quiet moment with noise, with distractions, with the desperate urge to check your phone one more time, hoping something has changed. That silence you are sitting in right now, the one that feels so heavy and so unfamiliar, is not a sign that something is wrong with you. It is actually the first honest conversation you have had with yourself in a very long time. As a woman, you were conditioned from a very young age to associate silence with abandonment, with being forgotten, with not being chosen. You were taught that love means constant communication, constant reassurance, constant proof that someone is still there. So when everything goes quiet, your nervous system reads it as danger. Your heart races, your mind spirals, and you start to believe that the absence of words means the absence of worth. But that is not what the silence is telling you at all. The silence is telling you that you are still here, and that matters more than you realize. When two people both go quiet at the same time, something extraordinary is happening beneath the surface. Your mind will try to convince you that the quiet means indifference, that it means you lost, that it means you were not enough to make someone stay or reach out. But female psychology runs so much deeper than that story. Women are wired for emotional attunement, for reading the energy beneath the surface, for feeling what cannot be expressed in words. And what you are feeling right now in this silence, if you sit with it long enough, is the truth of who you are becoming. Every day that passes without a word exchanged is a day your body is learning a new language. It is the language of self-trust. It is the language of boundaries that finally mean something. It is the language of a woman who is no longer performing peace while drowning in anxiety. The silence is stripping away every version of yourself that existed only to manage someone else's emotions, to soften your needs, to shrink yourself into a shape that felt more acceptable. And what is left when all of that falls away is remarkable. You start to notice things. You notice how much space you have now, space that was once consumed by trying to figure out what someone else was thinking or feeling or needing. You notice that your energy is coming back, slowly, the way sunlight comes back after a long winter. You notice that you are sleeping differently, eating differently, thinking differently. Your thoughts are beginning to belong to you again, and that is not a small thing. That is everything. The silence is also teaching you something profound about your own emotional patterns as a woman. It is showing you where you abandoned yourself, where you outsourced your happiness, where you made someone else's presence the condition for your own peace. And rather than judge yourself for any of that, this is your invitation to understand it. Women are deeply relational beings, and there is nothing wrong with loving deeply, with investing fully, with wanting connection so badly it aches. The problem was never the love you gave. The problem was that you forgot to give that same love to yourself first. This quiet period is doing something in you that no conversation ever could. It is rebuilding your intuition. It is strengthening the part of you that knows your own value without needing it confirmed. It is growing the version of you who will never again wait by the phone for someone to remind her that she is worthy of being loved. That woman is being built right now, in the stillness, in the ache, in the moments when you choose yourself over and over again, even when it is hard. So do not rush to end the silence. Do not fill it with noise just to escape the discomfort of sitting with yourself. Let it speak. Let it show you everything it has been trying to show you. Let it reveal the woman on the other side of this season who is clearer, softer in the right places, stronger in all the places that matter, and completely at home inside her own heart. The silence was never the absence of something beautiful. It was always the beginning of, there is a version of you that is being built right now, and she is not being built in the loud moments, not in the moments where everything is figured out and comfortable and easy. She is being built in the quiet. She is being built in the early mornings when you wake up before your alarm and your mind goes straight to the ache and you choose to breathe through it instead of reaching for your phone. She is being built in the evenings when you sit with your own company and realize slowly, tenderly, that you are not as alone as you feared. What you do when no one is watching, what you do when there is no one to perform healing for, what you do in the private corners of your own life right now is writing the story of who you will be on the other side of this. And as a woman, you need to understand just how powerful that truth really is. Female psychology is uniquely wired for transformation through stillness. While the world often celebrates the loud comeback, the dramatic glow up, the visible reinvention, the deepest shifts that happen inside a woman happen in silence. They happen when she is washing dishes and suddenly realizes she has gone an entire hour without that familiar heaviness in her chest. They happen when she picks up a book she abandoned months ago and finds herself absorbed in it, genuinely present, genuinely alive to her own experience. They happen in tiny invisible moments that nobody claps for, but that quietly rearrange everything inside her. This is why what you do in the quiet matters so much more than what you show the world right now. Every woman carries within her an extraordinary capacity for self-renewal, but that renewal does not come from distraction. It does not come from staying busy enough to avoid feeling. It comes from choosing, consciously and consistently, to show up for yourself in the small ways that add up to something enormous over time. When you choose to move your body even on the days it feels pointless, you are telling your nervous system that you are safe, that you are capable, that you are worth taking care of. When you choose to nourish yourself with food that actually feeds you, rather than numbing yourself with things that only create more emptiness, you are practicing the most radical form of self-respect. When you journal your thoughts instead of spiraling in them, when you call a friend who genuinely sees you, when you sit outside and let the sun touch your face and allow yourself to feel something soft, you are doing the work that defines who you become. Women who come out of quiet seasons completely transformed did not transform because time passed. They transformed because of what they did with the time. They used the stillness to get honest with themselves in ways they had been avoiding. They used it to examine their patterns, their tendencies, the ways they had been giving too much of themselves away without even realizing it. They used it to rediscover the things that lit them up before they started organizing their entire lives around someone else's presence. There is something deeply feminine about the process of going inward and coming back out more whole. Think of it like a season of roots growing deeper underground before the bloom becomes visible above the surface. Nobody sees the roots growing. Nobody celebrates the unseen internal work. But without those roots deepening in the dark, the bloom that follows would never be able to sustain itself. You are in your root season right now, and the woman you are becoming is depending on you not to abandon this process just because it is uncomfortable, just because it is slow, just because the results are not yet visible to anyone, including yourself. Keep choosing yourself in the quiet. Keep showing up for your own life with intention and tenderness. Keep doing the small, sacred things that remind you of who you are underneath all the noise and all the longing and all the waiting. Because one day, not too far from now, you will look back at this season and understand with complete clarity that everything you became started here, in the quiet, when you decided that you were worth becoming. If this spoke to something real inside you, if it reached a part of you that needed to hear it today, then you already know that more of this is exactly what your healing journey needs right now. So go ahead and subscribe to this channel, turn on the notification bell, and never miss a word, because every single week this space is here for you, speaking directly to the woman you are becoming and honoring every quiet step it takes to get. There comes a moment in every woman's life where she realizes that her hands have been holding on so tightly for so long that she has forgotten what it feels like to simply hold herself. That moment is not a defeat. That moment is actually the most important awakening she will ever experience because it is the moment she stops measuring her worth by what she was able to keep and starts understanding the extraordinary value of what she still has within her. Letting go is one of the most misunderstood experiences in female psychology. Society tells women that letting go means moving on quickly, means replacing the emptiness with something new, means performing a kind of cheerful resilience that does not leave room for the messy, complicated, deeply human process of actually feeling what happened. But real letting go for a woman does not look like that at all. Real letting go looks like sitting quietly with your own heart and saying honestly and gently, I release what was never fully mine to hold, and I choose now to hold myself instead. That shift, as simple as it sounds, is one of the most profound psychological transformations a woman can go through. Because for so long, your nervous system was organized around connection, around attunement, around reading the emotional temperature of everything around you and adjusting yourself accordingly. Women are naturally gifted at this. Your empathy is one of your greatest strengths. But when that empathy is directed entirely outward, with none of it flowing back toward yourself, it quietly becomes a form of self-abandonment. And self-abandonment, no matter how lovingly it is done, always leaves a woman feeling hollow in places she cannot quite name. Now, both of you have let go, and as painful as that reality is, it has handed you something that nothing else could have given you. It has handed you yourself, fully, completely, with nowhere left to redirect your attention except inward. And inward is exactly where your healing lives. Holding on to yourself means something very specific and very intentional for a woman in this season of her life. It means reclaiming your narrative, the story you tell yourself about who you are and what you deserve. It means catching the moments when your mind tries to rewrite your value based on an outcome rather than your character. It means noticing when you are being cruel to yourself in ways you would never tolerate from anyone else and choosing in that moment to speak to yourself with the same compassion you so freely give to everyone around you. It means getting reacquainted with your desires, not what you thought you wanted within the context of someone else's life, but what you actually want for your own. What kind of mornings do you want to wake up to? What kind of work makes you feel alive? What kind of friendships fill you rather than drain you? What kind of woman do you want to be when you walk into a room? These questions matter. They are not distractions from healing. They are the healing itself. Female psychology is deeply rooted in identity and relationship, and when a significant relationship ends or fades into silence, a woman often experiences something that goes beyond heartbreak. She experiences a kind of identity disorientation, a quiet confusion about who she is now that this chapter has closed. This is completely normal, and it is also completely temporary. Because your identity was never actually tied to that connection, it was only resting there for a while, and now it is returning home to you. Holding on to yourself means welcoming that return. It means making your inner world a place worth coming home to. It means investing in your mental health, your physical vitality, your creative expression, your spiritual depth, your friendships, your dreams that got quieter when other things got louder. It means building a relationship with yourself that is so grounded, so honest, so genuinely loving that you never again feel like you are disappearing when someone else walks away. You are not starting over. You are starting from a place of everything you have learned, everything you have survived, everything you have felt, deeply enough to be forever changed by. That is not a woman who has lost something. That is a woman who has been refined by something and is now ready to live with a clarity and a wholeness she has never quite had access to before. Both of you let go, and in that release, something extraordinary became possible. You became available to yourself in a way you have not been in a very long time. Do not waste that availability on grief alone. Use it. Use every quiet morning and every honest tear and every brave new choice to hold yourself the way you always deserve to be. There is something that happens in the space between where you were and where you are going that most women mistake for an ending. It feels like one. It has all the qualities of one. The quiet where there used to be noise, the emptiness where there used to be presence, the strange, unfamiliar weight of a life that is restructuring itself around a new kind of normal. But what you are standing in right now is not the closing of your story. It is the opening of the most important chapter you will ever live. Female psychology has a profound and beautiful relationship with transition. Women are cyclical beings by nature. Your body, your emotions, your energy, your intuition all move in rhythms and cycles and seasons. You already know how to survive a winter. You have done it before in ways both literal and emotional. And just like every winter you have ever lived through, this space you are in right now is not permanent. It is purposeful. It is preparing the ground for something that cannot grow in any other conditions except these. The comeback of a woman does not begin with a grand gesture or a dramatic moment of transformation that the whole world witnesses. It begins in the private interior of her own life. It begins the morning she wakes up and for the first time in a long time feels something other than dread when she thinks about the day ahead. It begins when she catches her own reflection and instead of cataloging everything she wishes were different, she sees someone who has been through something real and is still standing. It begins in a single quiet decision to stop waiting for her life to resume and to start living it intentionally right now, exactly as it is. That beginning is already happening inside you, whether you can feel it clearly yet or not. One of the most powerful truths in female psychology is that women do not just recover from painful seasons, they metabolize them. They take the raw material of heartbreak and confusion and silence, and they alchemize it into wisdom, into depth, into an emotional intelligence that becomes one of their most defining qualities. The women who have loved deeply and lost and chosen themselves afterward carry something in their eyes that cannot be manufactured. They carry the quiet confidence of someone who knows her own strength from the inside out because she had to find it in the dark. That is what this space is building in you. Not just healing, not just recovery, a complete and total expansion of who you are capable of being. Your comeback is not about proving anything to anyone outside of yourself. This is where so many women get derailed, pouring their energy into a version of reinvention that is really just performance, that is really just hoping the right people notice how well they are doing. But the comeback that actually changes your life is the one that happens because you decided you deserved better for your own sake, because you looked honestly at the patterns that led you here and chose with full awareness to create something different, because you stopped negotiating with your own potential and started honoring it. The space between where you were and where you are going is sacred ground. It is where your values get clarified. It is where your boundaries stop being concepts and become lived experiences. It is where you discover which friendships are real, which habits actually serve you, which version of yourself you want to carry forward, and which versions you are finally ready to release with love and without apology. Women who have walked through spaces like this and come out the other side speak about it the same way every time. They say they would not undo it, not because it did not hurt, it did, deeply, but because of who they became inside it, because the space cracked them open just enough to let a truer, freer, more fully realized version of themselves come through. You are in that cracking open right now, and it is not comfortable, but it is working. Everything that is falling away is making room for everything that is meant to stay. Everything that went quiet is creating the conditions for something in you to finally speak at full volume without hesitation and without fear. Your comeback has already begun. It began the moment you chose to keep going. It began the moment you decided that your life was worth showing up for, even when it was hard. It began in the silence, and it is growing in the stillness, and it is going to emerge into the light in a way that will take your own breath away. If these words found you at exactly the right moment, if something in this message spoke directly to the woman you are becoming, then this channel was made for you, and you were made for exactly this kind of reminder. So subscribe right now, hit that notification bell, and let this be the community that walks beside you every single step of your comeback, because you deserve a space that sees you, speaks to you, and believes in you completely, even on the days you are still learning to believe in.